All right, let's dive deep into the CCNA 200-301 certification today.
hmm
Our source material here is pretty specific. It focuses on study resources for the exam itself. Things like practice questions, and these materials, often called dumps.
That's right. So our mission really is to use this material to give you a quick overview. What actually is the CCNA 200-301? Who's it aimed at?
And what kind of study support does this source talk about?
Exactly. We're sticking just to what's in front of us to keep it clear for you.
Okay, so looking at the material, it frames the CCNA 200-301 as an excellent starting point for anyone wanting to get into networking,
Yeah, it sounds like it covers the real essentials you'd need, to build that base.
like the core concepts.
Right. The document mentions key things like IP addressing. That's basically how devices get their unique network IDs, right?
So they can find each other.
Exactly. And routing, too, which you can kind of think of as the network's GPS telling data where to go.
Yeah.
Plus, network security fundamentals and even a bit on network automation. It seems like a pretty wide sweep of the core stuff.
It does. And who does the source say this is actually for? Because it lists quite a few different roles.
It does, yeah. The material suggests it's good for people wanting to be network engineers, IT support techs,
Right.
even computer science students, network admins, system engineers, help desk folks.
So a pretty broad range.
And it specifically calls out career switchers and junior IT pros, too. Seems like if you want to sort of recognize way into IT infrastructure, this is one they highlight.
That makes sense.
Right.
Okay, so what about the exam itself? What does the source tell us about, like, the mechanics of it?
Well, it gets pretty specific there. The exam code is 200-3011 CCNA.
Okay.
It's around 100 to 120 multiple choice questions. You've got 120 minutes.
A minute per question, roughly.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's offered in English and Japanese. The source also breaks down the topics.
The domains.
Right. Network fundamentals, network access, IP connectivity, IP services, security fundamentals, and automation and programmability. Just that list tells you it's, well, pretty comprehensive for an entry-level thing.
It definitely paints a picture of the scope. Now, this source puts a lot of weight on specific study aids, particularly mentioning these dumps. What exactly does the material mean by dumps here?
So the way the material describes them, dumps, are essentially collections of practice questions and answers.
Okay.
They're presented as resources that give you practice exams, which are, supposed to closely resemble the real CCNA 200-301 exam format.
So the idea is like a simulation, getting you ready for the real thing.
Precisely. The source claims that by using these, you get comfortable with the format, you're less likely to be surprised on the day, and you can kind of pinpoint where you might need more study. It emphasizes that their materials aim to be current and match the actual exam.
Gotcha. So what are the specific benefits the source claims you get from using these practice materials?
It lists quite a few. Getting familiar with how the exam looks and feels.
Right?
Identifying your knowledge gaps so you can focus your study efforts. Maybe improving troubleshooting skills through the questions. Practicing managing your time.
Okay, the time pressure aspect.
Yeah, that too. Boosting confidence. And this seems important. Keeping up to date with the latest exam topics, like including newer things like automation.
So it really focuses on using these tools as a way to tackle the specific challenge of the test itself, the format, the content.
It seems so, yes. It positions these resources as, well, key tools to help you prepare for that certification hurdle, building on the foundational knowledge the exam requires.
Okay, so let's sort of wrap this part up based on the source material. The CCNA 200-301 is presented as this foundational cert for getting into networking.
Right, covering core IT topics.
And the study support discussed, like these practice questions and exam-like materials, they're pitched as a major help for getting ready for the actual test structure and content.
Exactly. Get the knowledge, then use the practice to handle the test. Makes sense.
So here's something interesting the source mentions, something for you to think about. It talks about needing to frequently update its content to match the latest CCNA exam objectives, keeping pace with Cisco's changes.
It's a constant battle in IT.
Right. This constant need to refresh study materials, even for an entry-level cert, it really underscores how incredibly fast this whole world of networking and IT moves. So for you, maybe looking at this field, what does that relentless pace suggest about the need for, continuous learning long after you might pass any single